Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Netchicks here, and today we are going to be covering the Netflix original series Dracula. Wow, it was a roller coaster, and it was madness. And I'm also here with my co-host Sherlock the Cat. He will be making some appearances and comments. There he is. um, and also, if I'm wiggling a lot, it's because I'm on a cowskin rug, and those are very itchy. But yeah. So I've recently finished the first episode of Dracula, the Netflix original series, like I said before, and it was very intense. And I'm gonna go into there's a couple of things of what I liked about it, what I disliked, what I don't know what exactly like the characters. It was a lot to unpack, you guys. It was so much to unpack. So I kept it organized. I have a list, so if I look over to the side a lot, that's because I'm trying to stay organized because I really just want to fly off the handle and make this like a 4-hour video, but I know that the algorithm won't have it and you guys won't have it, so I'm gonna do my best. So let's start with the TV rating. There is a lot of blood, there's a lot of sexual themes, there's a lot of eating babies, there are bugs and bats and people being attacked and folks getting their heads chopped off. So please don't watch this show if you feel like you are a squeamish person or you get scared easily or if you're under 14 or if you're with your parents. Actually, don't watch this with your parents either because, like I said, sexual themes. That stuff gets awkward watching that with your parents. That show made me wear this shirt. I don't know if I mentioned that already. Nope. Because nope. It was madness. So yeah. So as for the plot, according to IMDb, it says the plot it says in 1895 Transylvania, blood-drinking Count Dracula, draws plans against Victorian London. And it's kind of vague, but it's basically the story of how John Harker meets Count Dracula and how he ends up traveling to Transylvania to help Count Dracula get his British citizenship. So that way Dracula can sell his castle, move to Transylvania, and kill millions of people. I think what he said in the movie was, "I will have my fill and maybe even more so." That was a lot for me. Oh my gosh. You are so cute right now. Yeah, it was a lot for mommy, right? Yeah. Um, it is definitely a horror film, and it's definitely a drama. And I keep calling it a film even though it's a miniseries because it is comprised of 3 other episodes, which I think I'm going to finish it. Not sure. Kind of back and forth. I don't know. But it also received a 6.9 out of 10, and I really feel like it deserves a 7 or an 8 because the visuals are very beautiful, and you can tell that there is some CGI in it, but it's not like an awkward amount or like an obsessive amount of CGI to where it like looks fake. I actually went and saw 1917 recently, and there was a scene with a rat that does something super bad in the movie, and the rat looked clearly very, very fake. Whereas all the other animals, they move fast enough, but are also clear enough where you know what it is and you know that it looks realistic. But you could get past the fact that it is CGI. So I felt like the film was very well done with its computer generation. I felt like the costumes were accurate. I really liked the look of this film. And I was like, why am I so into this? Like the writing and the pacing and the organization of the film. Because it is mostly the story of John Harker accounting his visit with Count Dracula at the time. And, hi. Sorry, my cat is just staring at me lovingly. It's very distracting. You're so cute. It's the story of John Harker counting his time with Count Dracula, his 30 days with Count Dracula with Sister Agatha Van Helsing, which I feel like that name sounds familiar, and I guess they'll go over it more in the next episode. Sister Agatha is having this conversation with him, and they intervene, but he also talks about his time in the castle, and it was very interesting, and I was like, who put this together? And of course, it was the guys that made Doctor Who. So Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss worked together to create this. They also worked together on Sherlock, which was an excellent miniseries. If you guys have not seen that, please go watch it. It's so good. Also, TV 14, I believe. So, might want to be a little bit older watching that. But yeah, I would definitely recommend that. I felt like the way that they explore that character was very interesting. In this film, they go over a lot of the Dracula lore. So it is obvious that, like, so they explain the difference between why Dracula is such a threat versus other vampires, where we do see other vampires, and they're reminiscent of more like zombies that are, you know, bloodthirsty. Whereas Dracula is still refined and still has the same attitude of an aristocrat, which is something that Van Helsing points out, which is very interesting because that's not normal. So how was he able to stay so brilliant and stay so determined and stay, I don't know, just very coherent, I guess is the word. Because typically becoming a vampire leads into madness later on, which is also another trait that Harker had, where he didn't immediately become, you know, insane. He tried to keep his sanity, and well, I guess I'm spoiling too much, but yeah, sorry. But basically, it's very interesting how alike Harker and Dracula are, but how they're still different, where like Harker still kept on to his morality, which I think maybe it was like the hundreds of years of killing people has caused has caused Harker to kind of like lose his, well, not Harker, Dracula to lose his desire to preserve human life. But I don't know, maybe that's it. I think I'm gonna have to finish it. I think I'm gonna have to finish the show and maybe do like a review on part 2 of it, because it's so intense and I need to talk about it. But yeah, so I felt like that was really interesting. They also go over some of the lore about vampires too, which I don't know if I exactly said that. But they talk about things that do work that stop vampires and things that don't work that stop vampires, and experiments, and how strange just some of the characters are, which is another thing I'm going to go over. So like I mentioned before, John Harker was a character in the show who is, you know, just like a normal mild-mannered Englishman, and he kind of, it's weird because he's kind of just focused on his job, but then he also realized he's also kind of a hero, you know, like he's very loving. He loves his fiance Mina, and he also has a sense of adventure because he was able to travel outside of his country and be so comfortable doing so, and then staying with a count for a month, and it's some stuff is also kind of confusing about him because his fiance writes a letter, which is how we're introduced to him, to John, about him being she's basically saying, I'm allowing you to like cheat on me or whatever because I'm gonna have you like the rest of my life. I think she's joking. I'm pretty sure she's joking because no woman would be fine with that. And she's like, yeah, and like if you look at other women, that's fine. I look at other women too, and I know you look at other guys and whatever. And I was like, I don't remember this being in the book. I don't know how this pertains to what's going on, but okay. And I think it does raise some questions about like how exactly John started to mutate, because after a while, and this is important and this is something that is obvious, John is affected by Dracula, and he actually has a dream where he's dreaming about being with Mina, but then all of a sudden Mina becomes Dracula, and he has that dream a couple of times, and it's like, how exactly is Dracula taking his life force? And it goes into some really weird stuff, and then Dracula actually like low-key proposes to John. Very confusing. And I don't exactly know what's going on. But yeah. So then there's also Mina, which we'll go into her part. And she ends up becoming a very integral part of the series. We see that she's like very brave and adventurous and very much in love with John, to the point where she has an opportunity to stop John, and doesn't take it. And it ends up actually hurting a lot of people. And I would like you to watch the show and then tell me if I'm a bad wife for taking that opportunity if I was in her situation. Because, and I talked to my husband about this too, it doesn't make sense if someone is clearly corrupted and suffering and you can stop their suffering or the suffering of thousands of others to probably take them out, you know? Like, I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Leave a comment below. Tell me I'm crazy. I'll accept it. Whatever. And then and the next character I also want to take a little bit of time to look at before we get to Dracula as well is Sister Agatha. So Sister Agatha is one of the few people that we're introduced to first, and she's the one that does the interview with John, where she tries to find out his story and tries to get like a clear-cut understanding of exactly what happened to him and where he is now, and if any, really, Sherlock, really, and if any of the people that he spent time with, like just basically how all the interactions went down and what actually happened, because looking at his notes, it's not clear. It's just, that's all I'm gonna leave it at. It's not clear. There's so many plot twists in this show. Shyamalan would be proud. There's so many plot twists, guys. You have to see this show. I know I'm not supposed to say that until the end, but you have to see this show. It's amazing. But yeah, so Sister Agatha is also a very unconventional nun, which is like straight from the get-go, where she like just discovers God, like from having her conversation with John, which is madness, because like that's typically not when a nun would do that. But she also mentions that she's in a loveless marriage, which makes sense, because in that time period, that's really all you could really do is just like go to a nunnery, or stay in marriage and be miserable and save face and have money. And then what else? What else about Sister Agatha? Because that girl is crazy. Yes, she's crazy. That's the other thing. So Sister Agatha finally has an encounter with Dracula. He comes to the castle. Well, not to the castle, to the nunnery. And she makes it clear that he is not welcome in. Don't come in. You can't come in. And Dracula is actually held by that. It's not even just like you're not invited to a party. It's like there is a barrier within him that cannot keep him from entering that building, and he has to be invited in, which was a fact about vampires I actually forgot, because basic vampire knowledge, every person needs to have that. But yeah, so she and Dracula have a lot of exchanges, and there's like a lot of taunting, and she just doesn't act like a normal nun. And I'm really curious about her story, because they don't really go into her story much. They just emphasize the fact that she's very into occult and witches and stuff like that. And I think she also hints that she knows Sherlock Holmes, because this took place in 1897. So she says that she knows like a famous detective and has connections. It's like, do you know Sherlock Holmes? We should talk about that. But yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool, and I hope that we get to hear more about that. Sorry, my nose is very itchy. Let me see what else is in my notes, because it's so many things. This will be so much better when I can edit my videos, guys. I talked about all the things that I liked, all the references. Dracula killed, what's his name? Mozart. That was kind of upsetting. But yeah. Okay, so I guess I should get into the things that I don't like. So as you guys know, I'm a Christian, and I take my Christianity very seriously. And I understand that I'm in a time period where Christianity is not displayed in the best light, and I understand that. There have been some Christians who have not demonstrated proper Christianity well. And so with that being said, I'm not constantly offended by the things. Oh, you're so cute. I'm not constantly offended by the things that people say or do, because like you can have your own opinions about Christians, and hopefully I can change your mind on that. And if I can't, that's not meant to be. But that's my attitude. Like I would like to represent Christianity in the light that I'm taught in the Bible. So it's like it was a little weird whenever they would talk about God, and there were just like some things I didn't like. But I also realized there's a lot of Catholicism about it, which is kind of different, and also it's also in the 1800s, so it's gonna be the points of view are gonna be very different. So if you are a Christian and you're sensitive about that kind of stuff, don't watch it if you're just gonna be angry about it, because this is mostly about Dracula and him being evil, which is he's an amazing character, by the way. The way that he transforms and becomes like even worse and scarier, and like how he gaslights people, he's just crazy, and like it's a really, really great show. And if you can get past the views on Catholicism and whether or not God is real and stuff like that, because everyone questions that and saying that there is no God, like it was annoying. But you know, I mean, that's just me. This is about my opinion. That's just me. That's all I'm saying. Let me see. Didn't like how scary it was. So, I don't like how scary it is. I am not one for gore and people being attacked and just all that physical horror stuff. I don't like it. I really, 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 really don't like it. I don't know how much more I can emphasize that I don't like gore. But this show makes it worth it. It makes it worth it, and it makes it real, and it makes it scary, and it's just gore well done. And that's all I can say about that. And then the second to last thing I don't like is Dracula's butt. I saw Dracula's butt, and having watched several movies where I had to see people's butts this week, I'm tired of the butts. Don't want it. But like I said, that's another personal thing with me. And Marin. Did not like Marin. Which, like, she's just a dumb kid, and she's in love, and I can't. You'd have to watch the ending of it. I'm not going to tell you what happened. I've decided I'm not telling you. But it just, I'm sorry. It does, I don't care who you are. If you tell me or show me that you're possessed by a demon, we're not hanging out for a while. We're just not hanging out for a while. Just, that's all I'm gonna say on that part. I just found Marin to be kind of like, they tried to put in the fact that she was so progressive and like ahead of her time and like super cool, but she's like, you know, I renounce God, but I overly trust my husband even if he's like possessed, whatever. But you know, that was just something that irritated me. But yeah, who is this movie for? So I honestly would say if you like the collaborative works of Moffat and Goddess, I would definitely recommend watching this. If you're into scary movies, I would recommend watching this. If you like literary classics and want to get into it, because I like literary classics, but I find that I have a better time reading the books if I watch the movies. So like The Color Purple and Mansfield Park, Emma, and Pride and Prejudice. I watched the movies of those films. Well, I watched those films before I read the books, and it actually made it fleshed out the books more, because I could see what was happening, and then I understood it, and then the books just helped me expand on it. So if you are interested in reading Dracula, and you'd like to watch something that's kind of like Dracula-ish, I would definitely recommend that. And also, if you guys know where to find like one of the original Draculas, the movies that came out in, I guess, like the early 1900s or whatever, or like the 1930s, I would love to watch that. Please let me know where I can find it. Is it worth watching? Yes, absolutely, 100%. Yes, worth watching. I would definitely watch this. I'm going to finish it. Still deciding on whether or not I want to do a part 2 to this, because I feel like if I do part 2, then I'm just gonna let all the spoilers free. I don't want to spoil too much for you guys if this is just your first introduction to it. But if I make another video about this, it's gonna be spoiler city. Kitty might be there. I don't know. This camera's flipped around, so it's weird for me. But yeah, he's so cute. I love that cat. Anyway, I'm so glad you guys stayed for this whole video. I had a lot of fun making this video. I hope that you like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you thought of Dracula. If you're gonna watch it, what I should watch next. Just say hi. I don't know. I love talking to people. Anyway, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.